Tekiah, Shivari, Teruah, Tekiah Gedolah. Yasher Koach, page 9.
Presence is here, Shekhinah, you will dwell among us. We'll make this space a holy place, so separate, so whole, rejoice every soul who
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Good Yontif. I'm Rabbi Jonathan Blake. I'm so grateful to share this bima with our senior cantor, Amanda Kleinman, and with Rabbi Alyssa Platkow, who joined our congregation as assistant rabbi this summer and who is already swimming in the deep end of the pool, teaching, leading us in prayer, lifting hearts with singing, and sharing in the sacred and significant moments of our lives. We're so grateful to welcome you, Alyssa, together with your wife, Miranda, to our extended WRT family. And we're delighted to share the bima with Phil Fisherman, our cantorial intern. Phil is a third-year student at the Debbie Friedman School of Sacred Music at the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion, and will also be lifting us up in song. Rabbi Leah Citrin, Cantor Isaac Sonat-Asor, and our rabbinic intern, also new to WRT, Micah Glickman, are presently leading our family service in the Beit Midrash and will join us on the bima after the completion of that service. We're also grateful to share the leadership of this worship with our temple president, Warren Haber, and with other volunteer leaders who will be called out of the congregation, and an incredible musical team who will be introduced properly at the end of our service. Before we begin, an important public safety announcement. Clergy and professional staff at WRT are prepared to respond to emergencies. In the event of one, please follow the instructions which will be provided over the security intercom and from the bima. Even as we gather here in prayer and love, over the last 24 hours, families across Israel have been taking shelter in safe rooms, while reservists are again putting on uniform, ready to defend the Jewish state. Let us all take a moment of silence and pray for those in harm's way. Tonight, we begin a journey from 5784 to 5785, a journey from the year that has been to the year that could be, a journey that echoes what a yearning biblical poet long ago put to words in the 118th Psalm. Min hametzar karati ya, from the narrowest place I call out to God. Anani vamerchav ya, God answers me from the widest expanse. We journey from the Meitzar, the narrow place, the straits, the place where we have been squeezed and pressed, the place where it seems like there are no good options, no room to breathe, nowhere to go, a bunker under siege, a kibbutz on fire, a village under a hail of rockets, a child under rubble, a tunnel without light, a hostage who is called but cannot answer, a heart without hope. From this Meitzar, this narrow place, we call out to God, and God answers from the widest expanse, the possibility of a day after war, an enemy in retreat, fear turned to faith, refugees returned home, captives reunited with family, children growing up secure and free, hearts with newfound hope. An old African-American proverb declares, "Our God can make a way out of no way," a theme echoed throughout Torah. Abraham and Isaac at the altar, the Israelites before the raging sea, David staring down Goliath, and yet a way out of no way. So tonight, we begin a journey from the narrow place to the wide expanse, from potential to actuality, from hardened hearts and minds to new ways of thinking and feeling and being, from victimhood to agency, from suffering to empathy. God of the Merchav, of the widest expanse, hear us from the Meitzar, the narrowest place, and help us make a way out of no way as the new year begins. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. In just a moment, we will kindle holiday lights that formally signal the beginning of this new Jewish year. Over the past 51 painful Shabbatot, many of us have kindled extra lights for those of our brothers and sisters in Israel who remain in Hamas captivity in Gaza. Here at WRT, along with the chair covered in our talit on our bima, we have placed these blue candles on the bima. At points over the past year, we have rejoiced in removing lights for those who have been rescued, and we have mourned as we remove candles for those we have lost. While the light from these candles has diminished, the light that emanates from each one of us in loving support burns undimmed. A core text of this High Holy Day season is a line from Psalm 97, Or zarua latzadik uliyishrei lev simcha, light is sown for the righteous, radiance for the upright. Tonight, as we kindle the lights of this new year, we sow additional light for our brothers and sisters in captivity, these righteous of our people, and we pray that this light will reach them, offering a glimmer of hope during this time of darkness. We offer them this prayer, which has become an anthem of our time. Achenu kol beit Yisrael, for our brothers and sisters, the whole house of Israel, who are in trouble or captivity, whether on the sea or on the dry land. May the All-Present have mercy upon them and bring them forth from trouble to spaciousness, from darkness to light, and from captivity to redemption, now and speedily. Achenu kol beit Yisrael, Achenu kol beit Yisrael, Anetunim betzara,
this time, we invite forward our volunteer leaders, Steve Siegel and Fran Scheffler-Siegel. Steve has long served as our volunteer coordinator of our Torah study community, and Fran as president of our Women of Reform Judaism chapter. Please join us as they kindle the lights of Yom Tov, beginning on page 11. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Yom Tov. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam,
שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. We turn now to page 19 and rise as we will stand before the open ark to declare the new year. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, yehi ratzon shenizke levirchotecha bishnat chameshet alafim u'sheva shemonim v'chamesh. Elohei olam, barech otanu ve'et kol beit Yisrael b'chidush yamenu, b'simcha u'v'shalom, b'nechama u'v'ometz lev, b'chilutz atzamot u'v'ruach etana, yehi pri sfatenu mikubal v'ratzui milfanecha, bifros hashana chadasha. La'ad modim anachnu lach al matanat hachayim. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessings in the year 5785. Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. May the words of our heart be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for the gift of life.
Tekiah.
Page 23. Bless Adonai, who spins day into dusk, With wisdom, watch the dawn gates open. With understanding, let time and seasons come and go. Perceive the stars in lawful orbit. Morning dawns, evening darkens, darkness and light yielding one to the other, yet each distinguished and unique. Marvel at life, strive to know its ways. Seek wisdom and truth, the gateways to life's mysteries. Wondrous indeed is the evening twilight. Baruch ata Adonai, hama'ariv aravim, blessed are you, Adonai, creator of twilight and dusk.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, Beshomeinu umeinu nasiach bechukecha, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. אהבת עולם ישראל, עמך תורה ומצוות, ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. When we lie down, when we rise up, this joy will last forever. When we lie down, when we rise up, this joy will last forever, forever.
Ahavat olam.
Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha v'chol nafshecha uvechol meotecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
The foot of 33. You have stayed long enough in this place, God said. Time to go forward. Turn to face the future. Believe that you can cross this sea and survive. Inside you is a Moses. Within you, Miriam dances, unafraid. Lift up your voice and sing a new song.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עוזק ולך, מלכותך ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
One prayer recited in every evening service makes reference to Yerushalayim, asking God to spread over it a sukkah of peace. The voice from the biblical tradition most associated with the sukkah is that of Kohelet, the book of Ecclesiastes, who famously said, "To everything there is a season, a time for every experience under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die," and so on. Our colleague, Rabbi Oded Mazor, an Israeli rabbi, composed words on November 29th, this past year, called Kohelet Wasn't Right, which is a quote from another poet, the great Israeli laureate Yehuda Amichai. Sometimes, as this poem makes clear, a season for everything happens all at the same time. He writes, "In days when each hour collides with the next, we have no choice but to cry and to laugh with the same eyes, to mourn and to dance at the same time. And the long arc of history is compressed into one day and 1 hour. We ask for the strength to contain the intensity of our bursting hearts, to rejoice with those who will be able to embrace today, to enfold all those who withdraw in their longing, their souls trembling, to hold on to hope without letting go, and to leave some quiet space for the silent scream. Please grant us a place to shatter into pieces and the spirit to rebuild anew." Page 36, Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Lechaim.
Please rise, page 42.
Open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagimur ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim ve'Konei Hakol ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imahot U'mevii Geula livnei v'neihem Leman Shemo be'ahava. Zochreinu lecha Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. לכבוד על גבורות ומידו בלב, מלך מיתום חיי ומצליח ישועה. מחגוך אל הרחמים, זוכר יצורה, לחיים ברחמים, לחיים ברחמים. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
We take a few moments now for our own private prayers. The words of the Amidah continue through page 68, or you can just take this time for the prayers of your own heart. At this time, I would like to invite forward our teen choir, who will offer us a blessing for the new year. And I have to say, there is nothing that makes me feel more hopeful for the year ahead than the sound of these voices. Their prayer asks for many blessings for us in this new year, but most especially the blessing of Shlama Rabbah, the blessing of abundant peace.
Teen choir, thank you so much for the song and the light that you really give to us. We turn now to page 74. Avinu Malkeinu, strong was the faith of generations before us. In exile, they proclaimed enduring hope. In the shadow of persecution, they affirmed a transcendent love and compassion. Ours is a different age. Less confident and certain, more tentative in trust. There are many who say that to the works of their hands, you are our gods. But when our worship centers on our own creation, we feel less gratitude, more doubt, and despair. This is the paradox of our spiritual lives. We grow smaller in self-exaltation, nobler when we reach for you. On this night of return, let us find the humility to come close to you and open ourselves to your presence. For you are absent only when we fail to make room for you in our hearts, distant only when we turn away from you. Now, as others have done before us, let us overcome doubt and speak these words of affirmation. We call you Avinu, as loving parent. Forgive our wrongs and failings, accept us in our human frailty. We call you Malkeinu, a sovereign of our souls. Help us rise from our brokenness to build a world of shalom. To this vision, we offer ourselves anew. We rise now as the ark is open. Page 77.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu,
Shana Tova. It was the morning of the first day of 5784, and I stood before 250 people in their 20s and 30s at the congregation I served as rabbinic fellow for the last 2 years, B'nai Jeshurun in Manhattan. We were most of the way through the service, but a huge moment was about to occur. The great Aleinu, the dramatic lead up to the shofar service. And I decided to try something, and I offered this intention. It's traditional during the great Aleinu, I explained, to kneel down on the floor of the sanctuary, bowing your forehead all the way down to the ground out of submission to God. But this language of submission to God is alienating and kind of strange. Rather, when we do this, we are acknowledging not just to God or to a higher power, but also to ourselves, that even when we do everything in our power to make something happen, it is not all up to us. Some things are beyond our control. When we offer the great Aleinu and place ourselves in this posture, we express through this physical demonstration of our spiritual awareness and vulnerability that we might yet achieve a closeness to something greater than ourselves and a closeness to one another. I invited the congregation to move to an open space in the aisles, and when it came time, to kneel down with me. I added that as we reach the ground, we would take a moment of silence to further underscore our vulnerability. So, would the congregation go along with it? I had no idea. As I faced the open ark and I sang the great Aleinu, I lowered my forehead to the ground, and the entire kahal, the whole congregation, fell silent for about 30 seconds. When I rose, I noticed that the young woman who had been holding open the ark had an expression of awe with tears running down her face. After the service, I found her and I asked her what inspired that reaction. She looked at me surprised. "Oh, you don't know?" I shook my head, "No." Every person in the congregation put their face to the ground. Every person took the opportunity to express what it might feel like to be vulnerable or lack control. And what's more, they did it in front of each other as one community. But this year is different. Without the words of our liturgy or choreographed rituals, we have already felt more vulnerable than perhaps we ever have before. We felt vulnerable on October 7th when our Israeli brothers and sisters and siblings were ruthlessly attacked, when 1,200 of our family members were murdered and 251 taken hostage. We felt vulnerable when our role models and friends chose sides without so much knowledge or nuance. We felt vulnerable when our institutions of higher learning, which had stood up against injustices in past years, fell silent. We felt vulnerable when professors on those campuses, whom we entrusted to inspire us and teach us, offered Hamas, solidarity, and even praise. We felt vulnerable when our allies with whom we rallied and protested and pounded the pavement in our efforts to ensure basic human rights to everyone in this country abandoned us. We felt vulnerable when women's health and justice organizations around the world refused to acknowledge the rape of our sisters for months, if they ever did. We felt vulnerable as we were booed off of stages and barred from speaking engagements in institutions and even attacked on the street. We felt vulnerable when the bodies of 6 hostages were returned to Israel who had been alive just days before, and we did not save them. And on this first eve of the new year, when our hearts should be filled with such joy, we still feel vulnerable, knowing that 97 members of Am Yisrael cry out from captivity without rescue. We feel vulnerable as this war continues to rage on for far, far too long, claiming too many innocent lives to count. We feel vulnerable as rockets, just as recently as last night, continue to fall on Tel Aviv, on Haifa, and even our beloved Jerusalem, and uncertain fate sweeps across northern Israel. And we act when we're walking down the street. We act out of vulnerability when we hide our Jewish stars around our necks or decide not to wear them at all. In past years, we needed the great Aleinu to demonstrate to us that we are not in charge. This year, we have come to know that through our lived experiences. And yet here we are, and a new year is upon us, and Rosh Hashanah still offers a message that we need to hear. This year, I suggest we linger on a different prayer from our liturgy, like the Great Aleinu, a prayer from the shofar service. But instead of cultivating vulnerability, this prayer invites us to contemplate potential, to consider not only where we are, but where we might be going. Traditionally, on Rosh Hashanah morning, the prayer Hayom Harat Olam is recited 3 times, once after each of the 3 sets of shofar calls. These words, Hayom Harat Olam, are challenging to translate. In some machzorim, it is translated as, today is the birthday of the world. In others, today the world stands as at birth. And in our own Mishkan HaNefesh, it is rendered, today the world is born anew. All 3 translations mention birth, yet the operative Hebrew word harat does not mean born or birth at all. It means pregnant. So the line reads, today the world is pregnant. We can infer this translation from several passages in our Tanakh, our Hebrew Bible, in which a woman becomes pregnant. But the only instance in which the phrase Harat Olam is used comes to us from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 20. Jeremiah was not a bullfrog, but he was a prophet. And like many prophets, he did not choose this role. Bible translator Robert Alter writes that Jeremiah felt continual anguish over his prophetic call. But this is not so surprising. Thanks to his particularly gloomy and pessimistic prophecies, he was prohibited from going back to his hometown, a small village outside of Jerusalem. He was imprisoned multiple times, vilified over and over and over again, and even received death threats. But in 586 BCE, Jeremiah faced one of the most traumatic events in our history: the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem at the hands of the Babylonians. At this point, Jeremiah has been warning the Israelites for years that if they do not change their ways, if they cannot pull themselves away from false deities and return to God, there will be consequences. He goes so far as to pass on a message from God. He cries, God says, so will I smash this people and this city as one smashes a potter's vessel which can never be mended. But even in the face of these harsh words from God, the people remain stubborn as ever. By the time we arrive at chapter 20, the Babylonians are closing in on Jerusalem, and Jeremiah is beyond distraught. Talk about being vulnerable. Jeremiah even wishes that he were never born. It is in this moment of devastation that we find the words Harat Olam embedded in Jeremiah's reflection. With this phrase, he expresses a strange wish that his mom had stayed pregnant forever. Virachma Harat Olam. In other words, rather than giving birth to Jeremiah, he longs for his mother to have only lived forever with the potential of the life that she carried. Jeremiah longs to return to a time when everything about his existence, even the idea of his existence itself, was pure potential. I'm not sure if I would want anyone to be pregnant forever, so I'm not sure if I could put Jeremiah's mom in that position. Yet, if we think about it, Jeremiah's wish for his mother is actually quite wonderful in a way. Before a baby is born, parents allow themselves to dream. They envision what their children might look like, what kinds of sports they might enjoy, what hobbies they might have. They see them growing up, and they ask, what might our child be when they grow up? Barring any unforeseen circumstances, when a baby is on the way, the future is vast and open. Expecting parents may not just be pregnant, but their futures and their child's future are exhilaratingly and delightfully pregnant with possibilities. Beginnings in general are pure potential, the unfettered open road of possibility. At the beginning of any new chapter, whether it be the arrival of a new baby, or moving into a new home, or going out on a big trip, or going to college, or being ordained as a rabbi and then starting your rabbinate at Westchester Reform Temple. Maybe that's not one that is really all of you. Maybe that's just me. In every anticipated new beginning, we get to dwell in this world of potential, gazing at the great expanse ahead where countless paths could unfold. Who will our children be? What dreams and aspirations might they achieve? On my trip, will I have the opportunity to see the beauty of rare wildlife? Will I go on a challenging hike with a view that makes it all worth it? At my new school, will I do sports or Greek life, attend Hillel, maybe join an a cappella group? Will I have a big group of friends or just a few really close ones? What kind of job will I land when I graduate? Hayom Harat Olam. As we stand here on Erev Rosh HaShanah, on the precipice of a new year, our eyes should be aglow with envisioning what this year could become. Hayom Harat Olam, no matter how difficult the chapter we are concluding, no matter how challenging the past year has been, we still affirm just how much potential we have, just how much this next year could be better. Hayom Harat Olam, in this moment we hold our breath with excitement, waiting to unwrap the gift that this year could be. Hayom Harat Olam, so many possibilities are laid out in front of us at this glorious moment. And yet, as the sculptor stares at a block of untouched clay, or the painter's brush hovers just over a blank canvas, there is not only potential for a masterpiece to come forth, but potential for a mess. There is another Hayom in our High Holiday liturgy, Another mention of today that acknowledges this too. Tomorrow, we will hear our cantors sing, Unetana tokef kedushat hayom. Let us declare the sacred power of this day, hayom, today. Ki hu norah va'ayom, for it is awe-inspiring and full of dread. As we imagine what this coming year might hold, what untold directions it might take, we pause to appreciate the vastness and the power that comes with a moment of pure potential. The words of this Hayom are actually the ultimate expression of uncertainty. Who will live and who will die? Who by fire and who by water? Potential can make us fearful, especially when we know that our clay is not exactly untouched and that our canvas is not fully blank. For we have had a year of fire and water. And yet Rosh Hashanah gives us an opportunity to bask in the glory of what could be. While we continue to hold and will always carry the devastation of this year, we must also dwell in the realm of possibility. At the beginning of each school year, a professor at New England Conservatory challenges his students to do just this. After the students take their seats on the first day in his graduate-level Art of Musical Composition class, he announces to them all that they've aced the class and will all receive an A. But there's one catch. Within the next 2 weeks, each student must write a letter to the professor dated in May, the date of the end of the school year, detailing why they deserve that A, what they did to deserve that A. In the book, The Art of Possibility, the professor Benjamin Zander writes that he tells his students, I'm especially interested in the person you will have become by next May. I am interested in the attitude, feelings, and worldview of that person who will have done all she wished to do or become everything he wanted to be. In one letter, a student wrote, that drive of energy and intense emotion that you saw dormant inside of me, yet alas, I could not show in performance or conversation, was freed tonight in a program of music composed just for me. Another student writes, I had the courage to examine my fears, and I realized that they have no place in my life. I changed from someone who was scared to make a mistake in case she was noticed to someone who knows that she has a contribution to make to other people, musically and personally. But the most remarkable part of the experience wasn't reading these beautiful letters. Rather, the professor reports it was watching the students change and become the people they had envisioned before his very eyes. When we think about our world, it is easy to become overwhelmed and feel powerless. But we cannot allow ourselves to believe that we have no agency at all. We must not only envision ourselves as Jeremiah envisioned his mother, pregnant with possibility and full of potential, but then we must go a step further. We must manifest a vision for ourselves, as these music students did in their letters, and begin to fulfill that potential. Hayom, today. We must acknowledge that even in our vulnerability, we still have a hand in the future that might be, and we must seize that moment. I want to try something, and I'm not going to make you put your faces on the ground. But I want you to picture yourself next year. It's Erev Rosh HaShanah 5786. You're sitting in the exact same spot in this sanctuary. What did this past year bring for you? Did it bring healing, self-awareness, love, a challenge that you overcame? How did you grow? Did you work on being kinder and actually seek that out within you? Did you reach your volunteering goal? Did you draw closer to your spouse or your kids or your parents or community? Were you able to be embraced by others? What change did you make to do that? Did you learn more about your faith? Did you learn more about yourself? Did you learn more about your relationship with God? Who have you become? If it's hard to answer all of these things at one time, just stick with one. What is one way in which you grew? Hold that in your mind. I want to invite us all today, Hayom, in this world in which we feel so vulnerable, to commit ourselves to this one piece of growth. Find some time in the next 10 days when the book of life is wide open and the new year is still pure potential. Take a seat, reflect, and then write yourself a letter. Write about who you want to be when Rosh Hashanah comes around again next year. Not a to-do list, not a list of worries about the potential messes that this year might bring, but a letter of how you want to show up as your potential self. Because starting today, Hayom, you've already gotten the A in the class. Now go live it. Shana Tova.
Awaken my soul to all its potential. A letter unique in an infinite scroll. Both a guest and a gift in this life I am living. May I be for a blessing as I come and I go.
Every year, we lift this cup and dedicate the first kiddush of the first night of a new year, not only to the year that has arrived, but also an acknowledgement for all that has filled our cup over the year that is now gone. This year, our cup has been filled, but with generous measures both of sweetness and sorrow, the wine of celebration mingled with tears of anguish. So this year we will prepare for our Kiddush by acknowledging our milestones as well as our millstones, the things that have lifted us up in joy and also those that have weighed us down under the heavy burden of sorrow. If and when you hear yourself, your experience, or the experience of someone you love reflected over the last year, please rise, if able, and remain standing. By the end of our ritual, we'll have a congregation all standing together to make Kiddush and affirm L'chaim, to life. So if you have a loved one in Israel bearing the heaviest burden of the year that has been, or if you have visited Israel in the last year to show support and love, please rise if able. If you or someone you love encountered harassment, intolerance, or abuse this past year on account of being Jewish or supporting Israel, please rise. If you experienced the death of a loved one and have walked the path of mourning in this past year, please rise. If you celebrated an engagement or a marriage in your circle this year, please rise. If you welcomed new life into your family this year, please rise. If you celebrated B'nai Mitzvah, confirmation, or a graduation this year, please rise. If you marked a personal or professional milestone over the last year, please rise. If you participated in WRT's 70th anniversary campaign to support Israel and rebuild Kibbutz Be'eri, please rise. If you felt closer to the Jewish community and the Jewish people this past year, please rise. And if you are here because you need this new year to feel hope reborn, ushering out the old, welcoming in the new with all its potential, please rise if able. And so we lift this cup for the year that has gone, for the year that begins. May we meet it in strength, in unity, and in hope. We lift life's cup and celebrate our survival, and yet more, our thriving. So may we sanctify each day that is ours. This time I'm delighted to call up family of Joshua and Allison Block, Josh just having served as a trustee, Allison having just been dedicated as a new trustee on our board with their children, their daughter Isabel, who also sang in our teen choir tonight. And you'll find the words of our Kiddush on page 79.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol am ורוממנו מכל לשון וקידשנו במצוותיו ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה את יום הזיכרון הזה יום תרועה מקרא קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ודברך אמת וקיים לעד ברוך אתה אדוני kol haaretz, mekadesh Yisrael. Melech al kol haaretz, mekadesh Yisrael. Melech al kol haaretz, mekadesh Yisrael. V'yom hazikaron.
Source of blessing, eternal our God, your majestic power creates the fruit of the vine. Source of blessing, eternal our God, in your majestic power, you chose us to make known your aspirations among all the many peoples, making our lives holy through your commandments. In your love, eternal our God, you have given us this day of remembrance, a day for the shofar's joyful sound, a day of sacred assembly, a day to be mindful of our people's going out from Egypt, a unique place among nations you have chosen for us, and your word is true. It endures forever. Blessed are you, eternal sovereign over all the earth, who sanctifies Israel and the day of remembrance. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehekianu, v'kiyamanu, v'higianu, lazman hazeh. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, giving us life, upholding the life within us, and bringing us to this time.
Amen. L'chaim. Please remain standing as we now turn to Aleinu, page 82.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל,
לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית,
שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
You may be seated, and as you take your seats, we would love to invite forward our trustee, Mara Steiner, to offer the prayer found at the top of page 85.
May the time not be distant, our God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when lies and bigotry shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. So may all, created in your image, become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד.
This meditation before Kaddish is not found in your Machzor. It comes from a recently published collection of poetry called Shiva, which will be available to the congregation in small quantities on October 7th at our morning minyan. At 9:15 a.m., our community will gather together in prayer, solidarity, and remembrance, and we'll have a much larger service of morning solidarity, healing, and hope as part of the afternoon of Yom Kippur on Saturday the 12th. Tal Shavit wrote these words, this poem, in the days immediately following October 7th. They carry the ironic title, A Good Day, in Hebrew, Yom Tov. I want to manage all the war rooms, mobilize all the supply chains. I want to take care of all the children, of all the single mothers and those who are gone. I want to turn myself into protective vests for all the fighters, become iron domes over their heads, of all the girls, each and every one, to sustain all the families, the evacuated, the broken, the crushed, to bring back all that is gone, return those who were taken. I want to collect all the donations and take them where they belong, to pass along all the messages, to make all the sandwiches, to oversee all the efforts. But on a good day, Aval biyom tov, I manage sometimes to breathe, sometimes to drink, sometimes to call loved ones. Biyom tov, on a good day, I manage sometimes to cry. A link to this meditation was provided in this morning's electronic newsletter from WRT. And so we remember all those whom we have lost, all those whose love is still a part of our lives. We'd like to invite the entire community to rise tonight, mourners and sympathizing fellow mourners together, as we offer the Kaddish as one, the words found on page 90. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divra chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Israel, ba'gala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam alamei almaya, yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, V'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shemei d'kudusha b'richu, le'ela u'le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Osei shalom yimromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yal kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen.
Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen.
Delighted to ask our temple president, Warren Haber, to offer his welcome to our community.
Thank you, Rabbi Blake. As many of you are aware, this is an exciting time at WRT. We welcome several new clergy to our team, including our new assistant rabbi, Alyssa Placktow, Rabbi Alyssa Placktow, and her wife, Miranda, rabbinic intern Micah Glickman, and cantorial intern Philip Fisherman. We've also made a number of improvements in our campus, which you may have noticed within the main lobby, the Center for Jewish Life, the Social Hall, Ulam, Bedam, and Sifriya. As we begin this new year 5785, we welcome your continued joyful and meaningful engagement with WRT. If you haven't done already, please consider contributing to the Inspired Giving Annual Fund, which provides support to advance our mission, bless our congregants, and assist those in need. In addition, as we continue to execute our strategic plan, we welcome congregant participation in our membership, philanthropy, Shabbat, and small group task forces. If you're interested, please reach out to any of our trustees or call the main office to learn more. At this time, if you or your family are in need of support, or if we can help you in any way, please email me at president@wrtemple.org or call the office. I'm here for you and your loved ones. There are so many ways to foster a closer relationship with our wonderful traditions through education, family activities, social action, or Shabbat. Please join us as we continue to go from strength to strength as we wish you and your family a sweet and healthy New Year. Shana Tova Umtuka.
Shana Tova.
As we move toward the conclusion of our service, I'd like to take just a moment to offer our heartfelt thanks to all of the wonderful members of our staff team and lay leadership who made these Rosh Hashanah services so beautiful and special for our community. First, to our musicians, to the spectacular trio of instrumentalists who lift up our worship every Friday night, in addition to this Erev Rosh Hashanah, to Idan Santaus on flute, Jerome Morris on percussion, and of course to Pete Malinverney, our cherished pianist and conductor who in so many ways is the backbone of our music at WRT. And to the vocal quintet who have made these services what they are over these past several decades, we are so happy to be joined by Elizabeth Farnham, Phyllis Whitehouse, Grace Check, Hayes Biggs, and Cameron Smith. A special thank you as well to Jody Prysock and George Podanovic, who provided ASL interpretation for this evening's service. And I would also like to acknowledge on behalf of the entire clergy team, those members of our WRT professional team who work so hard during these weeks to help make sure our holiday observances run seamlessly. A big thank you to our executive director, Ellie Kornreich, who oversees an amazing team. Thank you to our facilities team under the direction of Al Betancourt. Thank you to Bree Candy, our special events and catering manager, who has managed so many of the little details of these holidays. Thank you to our security team under the direction of Chris Napolitano, to our AV team under the direction of Andrew Yanchishin, to our communications team, Danielle Feigenbaum, our communications director, and Hilary Fontana, our ticket concierge, for her preparation of our entrance cards, with a very special acknowledgement to Hilary, who has moved out of state and will be leaving her role at WRT in the coming months. We want to just share publicly how grateful we are to Hilary for her more than 21 years of service to WRT. We'd like to thank as well the entire administrative team under the direction of Amy Rosberg, our Director of Congregant Relations and Pastoral Care. Amy and her team do so much behind the scenes to help the members of our congregation feel cared for around the high holidays and every day. And finally, to the ushers who greeted us so warmly this evening, thank you to Donna and David Rabin, to Vicki Kravitz, Allison Block, Patty and Alan Friedman, and Eric Scheffler, with a very special shout out to Erica Radin, Donna Rabin, and Dave Schuster for leading and coordinating the usher program for the high holidays.
I see that you have these paper bags. Those are to be filled with groceries, non-perishables, listed on the attached card. And then you can bring these bags full of groceries to the designated bin in the back parking lot, which will be under a tent between now and Yom Kippur. If you prefer to make a donation to help address food insecurity in our community, you can give directly online to Feeding Westchester, our local food bank and sacred partner, or the WRT Food and Housing Insecurity Fund, which you can access through the website. Also on the website, you can access a complete schedule of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur services. I'll just highlight a couple of things about tomorrow. After your designated service, which is listed on your entrance card, your ticket, all are welcome to join a beautiful and meaningful tashlich ritual where we will cast away our transgressions and burdens. Do this together with our friends from Young Israel of Scarsdale. That's tomorrow, Thursday, October 3rd at 5:30 p.m. at Carpenter's Pond, which I understand has evaporated to become something more like Carpenter's Puddle, but that's still where we're meeting, which is right behind Young Israel off of Weaver Street. You can park in the neighborhood with the blessings of our neighbors and walk to the pond. And then please return at 10 a.m. on Friday for our second day Rosh Hashanah services, which will feature our Emeritus Rabbi and President of the Union for Reform Judaism, Rabbi Rick Jacobs, who will offer a teaching that addresses the complexities of this moment in Jewish life. Please remember that although this service is open to the community, Tickets and ID are required for security reasons. And finally, for those in our early childhood and Jewish Learning Lab communities who'd like to experience a very fun and family-friendly way of ushering in the new year, WRT sponsors apple picking this year at Wilkins Farm, and that will begin at that off-site location at 10:30 on Friday with Rabbi Citrin and our two wonderful interns, our rabbinic intern Micah Glickman and our cantorial intern Phil Fisherman. And I mentioned again, please come to a service of memorial and standing together in healing and solidarity here at WRT this coming Monday, October 7th, 2024 at 9:15 a.m. Everything else, a full and inspiring year of services, programs, social action, can all be found on the website in your weekly e-blast and in the bulletin, which appears quarterly, and in special mailings, which will be sent to your home. If you remember this date, you'll be happy that you did. May 8th, 2025, please hold for our annual celebration where we will mark this year's theme, From Strength to Strength, writing the next chapter of our story. So at this time, I would love for our rabbinic and cantorial interns, or our rabbinic intern, that is Micah, and our cantor Isaac Sanadasor and Rabbi Leah Citrin, who led our family worship, come back up onto the bima to help us conclude tonight's service. We invite the congregation to rise. return tomorrow. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.